And welcome to Literarily Wasted. My name is Talia.
I'm Christy.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Adam. Hi, how are you? How is everybody? Back to you.
Yay! Back to me. So, before we start, really quickly, today is March 11th. Today is March 11th. But on March 5th, we had a very special day. It was Lucas's birthday. Happy birthday, Lucas.
Thank you.
I brought this dumb thing for you to wear on your head.
Oh, I will. Excuse me.
It might
Getting all
not fit.
choked up there,
It's
Lucas.
our daughter's.
I did. I got choked up.
It's
It
our
is my
daughter's.
birthday.
Does that fit?
It was my birthday.
Cool. Great.
But yeah, thank you to all my friends and family and all of my lit fam too for wishing me happy birthday. I really appreciate it. It was a good day. It was busy. We had a crazy busy week last week, but we're gonna chill out.
Well, we made
this
it.
week.
We're alive, and now we're here, and we're going to talk about this weird book. This book is so weird.
Very weird.
We got a bunch of people in the comments saying hi. We got Vicky, we got Rachel, we got Jeff, we got Matt Scalisi who says hello from self-quarantine. Good call. We're out in the open. We're all going to get it. Brandy says hello. Victoria says hello. Jody says hello. Jeff says hello again. Scott says happy birthday. Dan says, are we supposed to ingest some shrooms before this discussion? Good idea.
Might help.
Lots of happy birthdays. Hey, Katie. Hey, Kimberly. And hey, everybody, back to you.
So,
my
Christy,
God.
why don't you catch us up on the super strange happenings that we should know about up to this current point of the book?
Yeah, recap. So tonight we are talking about Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. That's a really long title.
Hard-Boiled Wonderland and
The End,
The
of,
End
the
of the
World.
World.
Yeah. Up to chapter 20. So there's two different storylines. Here's your recap for both of them. In the town with the walls, the dude has lost his shadow, or it's been taken away from him. He is excelling in his job of reading the dreams of unicorns from their skulls, and he is trying to create a map of the whole town for his shadow in his free time. In Japan, yes.
Meanwhile, in Japan,
Meanwhile, in Japan, the guy is, let's see, this one's a little bit longer. Oh, he takes a job doing a laundering and shuffling project for an old man who is apparently the inventor of laundering and shuffling, and has also learned, the old man has learned how to remove sound from speaking and hearing, and gifts the main character with what appears to be a unicorn skull. The guy meets a librarian who he almost sleeps with. He hides the skull and the data outside of his house. Big Boy and Junior break into his house and destroy all his stuff and cut his stomach. But they did it all really nicely, and they inform him that the data he laundered and shoveled is a time bomb. He then teams up with the 17-year-old, who is the granddaughter of the old guy who gave him the job in the first place, and they go back to her grandfather's laboratory. That's it. That's where we are.
What is happening?
Good things.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Me?
Happy birthday to Lucas. Happy birthday to you. You can't have the whole thing, just blow it.
So y'all, if you're not in Birmingham, Alabama, these are baby bites.
And they are the best.
They are the best cake.
Sorry,
so
just-
we will. You have to live vicariously through
We
us,
wanted
but
to
thank
do
you.
this so we
That was
could
very
eat
sweet.
during the live stream. Okay, so let's get started.
Yeah, so to start, how do you feel about the book so far?
It is a book.
Okay.
So I was really interested after chapter 1. I was like, okay, this seems cool. I was like, I like that we're in Tokyo and I'm going down into the depths of this laboratory, and what does all this mean? And then I started to lose interest throughout the entire rest of the half. Why are you looking at me really funny?
That's just what my face looks like. I'm listening. This is
No,
my
so
listening face.
I was interested. I was invested in the first chapter, and I think I'm struggling with the duality of these two worlds and how different they are. Because I think part of my struggle too is everyone's kind of this nameless, faceless character, and so it's hard to identify, and it's hard to, like, nobody's resonating with me, and I kind of don't care. It's kind of, I can't remember what other book we read that was similar, where it was just like, okay, the world's gonna end. I don't care. You know, who is this flaccid penis man? And
Aw, that's not a nice nickname for him.
well, I mean, like, what are we gonna call this guy? Like,
It's the guy, the
it's
dude.
the guy and the
Yeah.
dude, and so I think,
Shouldn't be defined by his penis.
and I think what it is for me is it's not holding. Like, you would think that if the characters are going to be weaker like that, where they don't have names and it's just kind of amorphous, that the story would be like super captivating, and parts of it are, but then it's not.
Dan Lafferty suggested maybe Umbrella Academy is the other one that it was hard for us to really care too much about the characters in, especially with the possible ending of the world.
So it's interesting to hear you say that, because I don't feel that way about any of those things, actually.
No, really.
But I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm the polar opposite either. I wouldn't say that I'm like crazy invested and like totally into this book, but I am interested, and honestly, them not having names, it kind of took me a minute to realize that they didn't have names. Like, it didn't bother me. Because I just associated them as, I think maybe it's because I'm really bad at remembering people's names in the first place, so I just remembered them as like, oh, it's, you know, the numbers dude, and it's the girl in pink, and like that's how I classified them anyway, so that wasn't really a struggle for me. My main thing is I keep waiting for the answer.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for what is tying these two worlds together. I actually love the alternating chapters. And I keep thinking that as we go through the book, I'm finally going to hit that chapter where it's going to be like, and this is where it all combines into the same story. And I'm just like, I mean, I get it. We're in the first half of the book and it's not there yet. But I'm really, really interested to see how they're tied together. I mean, obviously, we're getting all these references to End of the World, and like the unicorn skull is in both stories. But like, it's super, super weird. I can't say that I'm crazy into it, but like, I definitely think it's interesting. I can't wait to finish the book because I want to know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, whatevs.
Well, I think it's kind of great that you're enjoying the alternating chapters, the stories, because that was one of the things you were the most worried about with this book.
Yeah.
But no, I love that that's actually not been an issue.
No, I think it's because it's so perfectly the way that I know exactly what to expect. I know when this chapter ends, I'm going right immediately back into the other story. I think maybe if it were broken up differently, but since the pattern is very consistent, it has not been a problem.
Peter Murphy says, I was interested at first, but I was not interested at first, but the deeper I get, the more interested I'm becoming. And Kimberly says, the shadow is the most mysterious to me.
Oh yeah.
The shadow is mysterious. And the
That's
shadow
a whole
talks.
thing for a minute.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the shadow.
Here, y'all get one.
The
I'm gonna go
shadows
share
are
some
own.
with
The
friends.
shadows are. She's gonna wait. The shadows
Oh.
are their own like thing. People, characters. The shadows are separate.
Well, let's hold on the shadows because we're
Okay.
coming back to it.
Okay.
Adam, what did you think? How are you feeling about the book so far?
Hey, I'm on the sun. I like it. It's weird. This is one of the weirder books that I've read. Lucas is handing out
I'm about
little
to give-
cakes right now. Yeah, it's one of the more weirdest books that I've read. Thank you. And
All the cake.
Give it back.
okay, but I really like it. It's different, and I had to put myself in a different mindset because like I'm getting a bit of culture shock because this is originally a Japanese book, and I think there's a lot of Japanese culture that's kind of infused in the way that people interact with each other and that sort of stuff. And Christy and I have talked a little bit about it, but Gene's biting his tongue on YouTube because he read ahead.
Well, don't spoil it, Jane.
But it's very fascinating, and I'm trying to put it together in my head. And I think, like Peter, I'm like you. When I start to put it together, it gets more and more interesting. And I think we're going to get an explanation soon.
I think we've already started to get that explanation. So I'm really enjoying this book. It took me a little while to get into it. I guess that's most books because I feel like I say that every single time. But like as more things are revealed, it's like getting really exciting how the two stories might be connected, and I'm really enjoying like trying to pick out all the connections And full disclosure, I actually went back through today and like glanced at, like flipped through the first half of the book just to like as a refresher, and things were a whole lot clearer when I did that. So that was really interesting to me.
if you read it again, you learn more.
It's
like watching the same-
Oh my goodness, no.
So Adam, what didn't you like about the book?
Yes.
I didn't ate a thing.
So
Tell us now.
I'll say one thing while he's
No.
while he's munching. For me, it's either the payoff's going to be like so incredible at the end, or it's going to fall super flat. And right now, I don't know. And it's like I am invested, and I'm interested. And like I will say the stopping point was a really good stopping point. But I could see it as like, okay, I'm going to either love this book so much at the end that I'm going to want to go back and reread it to find all those little details, or I'm going to be like, garbage, let's move on to next month.
Hopefully it's not
Hopefully
the second
it's not
one.
the latter, but we'll see.
I mean, since we already kind of touched on it, do you want to just go straight back into the shadows conversation?
Do we want to read some comments?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Because I finished that cupcake, I swallowed it whole.
Yikes.
Okay, so we've got some theories in the comments about what's going on. Peter's speculating about what is what, I think me and Peter are on the same page about what that's all about. Vicky says, I think it's funny how previous books can influence new readings, because when I started this book, I was thinking that the narrator was like an android. Yeah, that's like a
cool.
carryover. And then she said, I thought of something along those lines. She's responding to Peter. But then I thought it'd be fun if Tokyo is the unreal world. Matt Scalisi, one thing I read and found interesting about this book, in the original Japanese, the narrator uses a formal pronoun in the town and an informal pronoun in Tokyo. The translator tried to duplicate that feeling by making one half past tense and one half present tense. I didn't notice that.
I
didn't really notice that either.
Whoa.
Wow, that's crazy. I now need to go back and check it out. Well, I guess we'll keep reading. But
how many people noticed that?
Wait, which one is
I'll
past
put up a
and
poll.
which one's present?
He says the one half. Oh, I don't know. He just said what? Matt, clarify.
I mean, the book's right here. Hold on. Sorry.
And Jeff likes the book. He sees a pattern between some people not liking the books you throw in the middle of the world, and others really like books that start that way. So yeah, a lot of cool comments coming in, and it's just so fascinating to see what people think of this book. Matt Scalise says the town is present tense.
Thank you.
So back to you.
We are.
Well, that is actually really, really cool. I wish.
It's like I said, it's either gonna like be a big payoff, I think, or it's gonna fall flat for me personally. Like, and I could see it being like, oh my god, because that's what happens with all these halfway point discussions. Is one of us will go into it and be like, oh, okay, I don't like this author, I don't like their style, and then by the time we all discuss it and we get to the end, it's like, that's my new favorite author. So maybe that'll be me this time.
Yeah.
Gigglevids on YouTube
Gigglevid.
says the bombshell that he is the only Calcutech left from the first 26.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good one.
What? They all died. Their
Well-
brains like.
It melted.
Didn't he say that? Wasn't he told that they all died after 3 years except for him? It was something like that. Yeah. It was something like that, and that's really fascinating. Well, and the guy, I guess when they were doing that part of like the brain alterations, they said it was an experiment.
Yeah, and he singled that guy out for a very particular reason. Our hero, our protagonist.
Because he's still alive.
Flaccid Penis Man.
Stop. That's
his
such a
name.
mean
We're calling him FPM in the comments.
Okay, well, let me try again. Let's go back to the shadows thing.
yes.
Okay. That was actually, that caught me the most off guard out of the whole book, is when his shadow started talking to him.
It's like, hey man,
Yeah.
you need to go make this map, okay? And you're like,
Why does he speak that way?
Because that's what shadows talk like.
No, that is.
I don't think that's what shadows
I
talk
was picturing like cutting the shadow off, like when the gatekeeper was cutting his shadow off. I was like, oh, it's like Peter Pan, and then his shadow was like, come back, and I was like, oh no, why?
Definitely not like Peter Pan.
It's not like Peter Pan at all. Also, then the gatekeeper heated a knife and he stuck it in the guy's eyeballs.
But it was
Did
no
any-
big deal.
Yeah, it didn't hurt.
Didn't hurt.
He was fine with it.
I closed the book at that part for a minute and had to walk away because I was like, he was like, it's lit in like hot jelly. And I was like, oh my God, my eyeballs, no.
Well, and just the alterations that he went through to become the dream reader was really interesting. Like, he can't look at the sun or be outside when the sun is shining anymore. That's kind of crazy.
He's going to lose his mind,
Once his shadow dies, he loses his mind or something.
which means he loses his ability to care.
They weren't super specific about what losing your mind entails or like what it.
But it does. You lose your ability. It's like you almost lose your empathy.
They did say that the librarian
Empathy.
can't.
They become androids without their shadows.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's weird.
Kimberly's with you. She hates eyeball stuff.
Right? Yeah. It's yucky.
It's like me taking my contacts.
Ah. Gross.
I'd really like to talk about the name of this book, Hard-Boiled Wonderland, and the End of the World. And I know which one's which. Hard-Boiled Wonderland is
Do you?
Japan, and the End of the World is the town. But I really feel like the End of the World should kind of be Japan.
But they keep talking about the end of the world in Japan.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's
There's like the end of the world in his brain partition is the end of the world or whatever. And they're also talking about if you don't come with me, it will be the end of the world.
Yeah. And the grandfather doesn't say stuff like that unless it's real, and it really will be the end of the world.
Yeah. Pink girl knows.
So I thought that's really interesting because I'm not getting Hard-Boiled Wonderland too much,
I'm not either.
but I'm
don't
getting
know-
End of the World everywhere.
I don't even know what Hard-Boiled Wonderland
I don't
means.
either.
I think he was like, I'm gonna be weird and I'm gonna write.
Well, that's why I
this
thought
as
it would
my
be like
title."
the town because, right? Because it's a weird little town into itself. So it's like a Alice in Wonderland, except it's that hard-boiled dude in
Yeah.
the. I
Well,
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And keep
In the discussions post, Scott McClellan said, since one part of the book was called Hard-Boiled Wonderland, I was wondering how much Murakami would play with the tropes and cliches of the pulp fiction detective crime novel. And maybe that's why it's
I mean,
Hard-Boiled Wonderland.
Those tropes are kind of there. You've got a bit of the femme fatale in the girl who wears pink, the chubby girl as he calls her.
No, we're calling her the girl that wears pink. Continue.
You've got
you got the gangsters.
that come and like rough him up, and like this sort of unwitting anti-hero who is just a dude that's pulled into this world of intrigue and mystery. So yeah.
Yeah, people are saying isn't hard-boiled
bottomless
sometimes used to describe
librarian.
noir
yeah.
crime genre.
That's also not what I'm picturing when I'm reading that part,
No.
though.
No, I definitely pictured the two child goons. This is terrible. From Christmas Story. I pictured the little bitty munchkin kid, like the bully, as the junior who was like, yeah, and now we're gonna smash all your stuff.
Scott Farkas.
Yeah,
Farkas.
that's who I was picturing with like his dumb little hat. You little bully kid. Yeah. He was
Vicky
like,
Pack says the
Junior,
Wonderland.
Smash all his whiskey.
She says the Wonderland is the lab because he had to follow the white rabbit / chubby girl down the hole.
Interesting. I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Gene on YouTube says Hard-Boiled Wonderland equals LSD trip.
Okay.
Is that a request? Because there's a question mark. I don't know.
Scud Farkas.
Scud. That's right. It is Scud. It's a weird name, man.
That's the name you can only have if you're a bully.
Yeah. With that kind of name, I think turns you into a bully. Mwah. You're gonna cry now, baby. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Continue.
Well, y'all mentioned Big Boy and Junior.
Yes.
I thought that whole scene was probably the most entertaining for me. Just like they break down the door, but they didn't have to. But
Yeah.
they felt like professionally they had to. And then
Hey, stop talking about the door.
I know. And then they were
Shut up about the door!
they were so cool and kind, sort of. And then the guy
They
who's
smashed all his stuff and they cut his tummy open.
they were really nice about it.
So, I have never sliced anyone's stomach open.
They chose a very odd method for
I
that.
was going to say, I'm fairly positive that method is not required in order to cut someone's
They did a little extra on the stomach slicing.
It makes me wonder about this author because I think he has some.
I don't think that's
some emotional
necessary.
baggage centered around his personal life. Maybe
It's kind of odd. Like they answered. He felt those are the ones he's going to trust.
right.
And I have no idea why. I don't know why he came to that conclusion. And then they decide to just destroy everything in his house.
Yeah.
But how sad is this dude's life that he is so touched by their comments, and like he's never gotten any sort of compliments like this before. So to get them in this situation from people who are quite literally destroying everything that he owns and to himself, like to still have an emotional reaction because they're saying something nice while ruining all of your stuff.
I think the guy also is able to see what they're doing and understand that it's a job and that it's not personal. Because I mean, he like accepts it completely, and he sits down and has a beer. Like while they're trying to break down his door, he gets lunch and a beer and just waits for them in the kitchen. Like he's so laid back about all of this.
He's a little too laid back. He drank all of the tiny little remnants of whiskey left in the smash bottles, which is super unsafe, by the way, because you know he ate some glass shards.
Jeff said the junior stuff must be the hilariously funny bit
Oh,
the book blurb was
maybe.
talking about, and I'm with you, Jeff. Well, Jeff's right here, but I'm looking at the camera. I agree that I think I was kind of oversold on some stuff, and what I got wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I think that's maybe going into it with a little bit of preconceived notion. That it wasn't meeting some of the expectations I'd built up in my head.
Key things to remember. This was written in the 80s, but also
really?
this was written in another language.
Well, that's true.
So not only has it been translated into English, and some things quite literally get lost in translation, but it was written by a Japanese author, and legit Asian humor is just like British humor and American humor, not the same.
That's true.
Japanese humor, American humor, not going to be the same.
There's also a bunch of cultural aspects that I think are adding some complications to like us understanding fully. What were you
See,
gonna say?
Jeff says the 80s is no excuse not to be funny because the best comedies came out that time, like Ghostbusters.
That's
Um,
true. You completely set him up for that.
But thank you. But while I didn't find this book to be like laugh out loud funny, but I did have like a constant sense of like amusement the whole time. Like it was like, especially during the hard-boiled Wonderland sections in Japan.
well, and how
it was-
he focuses on things.
Yeah,
like
sofas.
weirdly focuses. Yeah, elevators, sofas, sandwiches, girls, paper clips.
But yeah, but it's just like this constant like sense of being like amused, which I think helped me enjoy the book. When you get to like the end of the world stuff, that has a much different tone. It has a much more like somber. I don't know if somber is
Like
the
a
right
dreamy
word. But like
kind of feel. Yeah.
But
Gene on YouTube says, were
Yeah.
y'all born in the 80s?
I was born in the
Yes,
80s.
we were all born in the 80s.
Children of the ages.
Rachel says, I knew that was going to be a Ghostbusters comment from Adam. Hell yeah. Back to you.
You want to go through some of the comments?
Sure. Rachel says that she knew that was going to be a Ghostbusters comment from me.
You
Okay.
already
Yeah,
read that
okay.
one.
Move forward.
Uh-oh. Something happened with the stream? Are we still there? Still alive?
I still see it.
Okay. Mine just has a literally wasted logo.
Ours
Mine
is
does
paused
too.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Y'all still here?
I'm here.
Chime in the comments if you're still here.
I mean, literally.
We're not getting any new
Dan
comments.
says, I was born in the 70s.
Uh,
Gene says, Ghostbusters.
there's one.
Still here.
Scott says, still here.
still here.
Jeff says, born in 75. Vicky says, does Adam ever have a conversation without mentioning Ghostbusters? The answer to that is no.
Of course not.
Ghostbusters.
Can y'all see us?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's still alive. We're still alive.
Okay.
I don't see us
Oh.
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Well,
Dan
that's all that
Lafferty
matters.
says, "Where was Bob Dylan?" It
Well,
also
we
mentioned
only
Lauren
read the first
Bacall, didn't
Well,
it?
Victoria said Bob Dylan will happen eventually.
Okay.
We're gonna get Bob Dylan. We're talking about. So, Vicky says, "I think there's a disconnect with the life of a Tokyo yuppie and this book club." Definitely. Let's see. What else? Melissa says this one has been a tough read. I haven't even gotten to the halfway part.
I'll say there
It's
were
okay. I struggled. It was a
there
it
were
was
a
a
few
harder.
times where
It was definitely a harder read this time.
the closer I got to the middle, the faster it went for me, for sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it was
I
a
agree
little
with that.
tough.
But there were some other chapters where I would like kind of put my finger on the page for a second and like check Facebook and then go
Rachel
back.
says sometimes I talk about Star Trek instead.
This is
That's
true.
true. That's true. Or X.
Hell yeah.
I will say, if you're listening to the audiobook, as I am, there are some nice little textural music or
Running water.
sound,
Yeah.
water kind of effects at the beginning of every chapter that kind of lead in.
But see, I wondered
like
about
that.
that because there are a couple of drawings
Yeah.
I know. I
in
saw
the
Adam
book
showed me, and I was like, "Oh,
that
that's
you
weird."
don't get.
Yeah, I know.
And I call them drawings because
Drawing.
they're
Doodles.
doodles.
They're doodles.
They're doodles. My favorite was the depiction of when he's talking about left brain versus right brain, and it's just a circle with like a scribble in the middle, and it's like, this is what it would look like. And I was like, that's very scientific. Thanks.
And there was one part where it was like right when he started the shuffling, where like it took the last sentence of that chapter and just like
Shuffled it.
like turned it upside down
yeah.
and like broke it apart and like started. It was weird. And there's also some word. So I had asked Christy because she was reading the audiobook, but listening to the audiobook. Sorry, but like there are certain words like inkling, which has like capital INK link, and then you find out what that means later. So it's,
Well, no, you find out what it stands for. You don't find out what it
Oh,
means.
yeah, that's
Oh
true.
yeah, no, I still don't know.
I don't know.
I read it and I was like, oh, so they're like nargles.
Yeah.
If you're a Harry Potter fan, you know. what I'm
Mike's
talking
here on
about.
YouTube. He says, "I like how the shuffling works. Sounds exactly like modern computer encryption." He says, "I've been watching lots of how encryption works on videos on YouTube recently, which is interesting."
The brain stuff is super interesting to me. The fact that like the subconscious part of his brain takes over and like he loses that part of himself, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And he just like came to and like realized like and the pencils had been worn down and broken and like all of the stuff had already happened because the other part of his brain did it. That was super freaky, but super.
That was the
interesting.
chapter. I don't know if Christy, you remember when I was sitting next to you on the couch, and I was just like, "What? What is this? What is happening? I don't understand any of this." And Christy just like, "Yeah."
Yeah. So 2 storylines.
Okay.
Which one do y'all prefer?
This is for you in the comments also.
Yeah. It's perfect time for a poll.
I don't think they're 2 storylines.
Oh, a poll, you say?
Well-
Let me.
Versus,
Settings.
yeah,
Let's
Hardboiled
see if I can
Wonderland
get
and the End
that
of the
to
World.
work.
Which one do you like best?
They both have unicorn skulls. They both have
That's true.
librarians.
That's
They both
true.
have a weird dude. They both have paper clips. They both have. I am done.
Yep. I prefer the Tokyo settings just because if I kind of see it as like it's half science fiction and it's half fantasy book in a way.
Yeah.
And I would much rather live in a sci-fi world than a fantasy world. That's just me. So I would rather have the technology and the gadgets and stuff over the fantasy, and that's kind of how my brain interprets the 2 worlds right now.
Well, I usually prefer fantasy, but I'm loving the Tokyo version of this. There's just more going on.
The other one feels.
Although
kinda
I want to
empty.
know,
Yeah.
I want to know what's under the water, and I want to know what's in the woods.
Oh, and the lake.
Yeah.
Well, the shadow is really insistent that they go to the woods, so I think that's in our future. Maybe.
And I don't like the gatekeeper, but also I am enjoying the Tokyo side more. I think.
Hey, all the connection issues aside, we got a poll up. If you can see it,
Oh.
good luck.
A lot of people are saying End of the World. Dan, Vicky,
Well, and
Brandy.
we're thinking End of the World is the
Wait,
town
which
with the
one
walls.
is the end? Okay.
Okay, Yeah. Hardboiled Wonderland is the guy in Tokyo
Okay.
with the girl in pink. And End of the World is the guy who lost his shadow and is reading unicorn skulls.
And we're 100% positive on that?
That's what we're going
Yes,
with for this
because
poll.
The map actually says the end of the world.
Oh,
on it.
And the page headings also change.
Yeah,
I
there's a
didn't
little
read that part.
there's a
That's
little
super
graphic
helpful.
at the top
Oh.
of each page.
Yeah, Scott. Oh, you just got it.
Here's the map.
I got it.
Oh, hey, it does say that.
Look,
Okay. Well, it's hard to argue with titles, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I still think it's one storyline.
Oh, yeah, it does
I
say
think it's
that.
one storyline, and we just don't have the connection yet.
I'm not sure about one storyline, but definitely one story.
Or yeah, that's what I meant. Although
Uh,
the town definitely also makes me think of Stardust.
so people in comments,
I can see that.
Kaylin Boggs says Tokyo. Kimberly says Tokyo is definitely funnier. Brandy says I want to skip the hard-boiled parts.
Ooh.
Jess says I want to know about the shadow. The shadow knows. Nicole says End of the World. Michelle says I like both settings equally, but the Tokyo setting has more humor in my opinion. Jess says I think they are different parts of the same story of a dude.
A dude.
A dude. The
The
town is a
dude.
little slow and boring for Kimberly. Jeff enjoys the mystery of both, but wants to know more about the fantasy setting. I did your quotes.
What's in the woods?
Yeah, I think they.
What's in the
I
woods?
think part of the reason why I prefer the Tokyo part is kind of, Christy, what you were alluding is there's just not as much content in the End of the World. Like
Yeah.
it just feels kind of
I think there is. I
washed
just think it's
over.
less blatant. Everything is
more subtle.
very, very subtle, very suggested. Whereas Tokyo is like, these are the things that are happening. And in the town, it seems like nothing is happening, but everything's very like creepy under the surface.
Yeah.
Like, how come he's doing this and there's glowy things and he just knows how to. What?
I prefer the hard-boiled Wonderland sections just because they're more fun to me. But I mean, I'm just speaking from like I look forward to those sections more, but they're all interesting to me. Gigglesvid says, I feel like I like the city with the beasts, even though it's weirder and scarier, but the character seems better-hearted. He's trying to help his shadow and is also kind to residents. Gene says,
It's creepier.
I much prefer the End of the World. So yeah, people are back and forth. Fill out the poll on Facebook. Sorry, YouTube, I can't do polls on YouTube because YouTube won't let me.
But that's cool, though. It's interesting just to see. It is true. One does feel more sci-fi, and the other feels more fantasy, and to see kind of
We got
who
both.
leans in which direction. Yeah, we're just gonna have to start reading 2 books, everyone.
So,
Just alternate. Just read 1 chapter of this book, and then read 1 chapter of this book, and then
careful.
they will never connect.
We can.
No, my brain.
I can't read 2 books.
My
So,
brain.
is the main character in both of these stories the same person?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay, we got a unanimous yes.
Is that another poll?
Huh?
Is that another poll?
I
probably
think so.
doesn't have
I'm
to
just
be.
trying to figure out if the librarian is the same or if it's the pink girl.
I think
is
the librarian in the town is the pink girl because she lost her shadow died when she was 17.
I thought it was
she's
4.
gonna die.
She was separated from her shadow when she was 4, and then it died when she was 17.
Oh no, the pink girl's gonna die, and she didn't even get to have sex.
Well, she's separated because her family died, like her parents died and stuff. Did they die when she was 4?
I don't know, but also
Maybe
Were
I'm
they
reading too much
separated
into it.
because
did
of the
they
accident?
die? Because she won't talk about her mom.
No, they burned up,
It was a
Okay.
car accident. They were hit in the
Oh,
rear.
right.
and then because she just has the ring and the other thing, the wrist, the arm, the watch. That makes more sense. The wrist arm watch. Duh.
Poor girl just.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I think everybody in the comments so far is saying that they're the same person.
Yeah.
I think I got theories.
So let's talk about some of those theories.
Yeah, share them.
What's your
Oh,
theory?
Yeah,
so
that's smart
my
of him.
theory so far, this is where I'm at, is that the town, for whatever reason, I guess that we'll figure out, is the partition of his brain that they had to like segment off so that he could do the shuffling. It's that piece of consciousness that like he can't access consciously, and that's because his password is the end of the world before he shuffles, and they came to get him that password through some like mind reading, some technology, and that was like unique to him. That was the end of the world. That's what it's called, the end of the world. That's just, it's like his F drive here, where everything else is like the E drive.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you. And in the discussions topic post that we had earlier, Scott McClellan and Amber Nolan both are along the same lines as well.
I didn't cheat. I didn't read your post first.
But I mean,
Yes, it did.
it makes a whole lot of sense in the way you're right with the fact that his password is the end of the world, and then that is the part of the book called the end of the world. I think that's pretty right. I think that's right.
And I think what's interesting is that like we got to find out now what's trying to happen here. Like,
Yeah. Why is then the shuffling part of his brain full of unicorn skulls?
I think,
What?
I don't know if that's necessarily important, but I do think when the old man got the main character to do the shuffling and the laundering, it said he put a code and it's a ticking time bomb. I think that's affecting the end of the world. I think that's why he's like doing the map and he's trying to reconnect with his shadow and he's trying to leave the town.
But you said he just got there a few days ago.
But was it a few days ago?
I don't know. This book is weird. I don't have theories, honestly. Like, yeah, I could mentally see how some of those things fit into place and would make sense. But I also am now thoroughly convinced that this author is weird.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm not jumping onto any train yet because I don't want to cling to any idea or theory yet. I'm really hoping he just surprises the crap out of me.
I think, Adam, that's a solid assessment. You've got several people, Scott, Caitlin, Matt, bunch of people like your assessment.
Yeah.
Astute.
Okay. Well, let's just go with it. Let's say I'm right, and
I think you're right too.
and so that makes me like excited to find out like where this is going. And we can speculate, but I know some of you've already read ahead, so maybe we won't speculate. But
Well, y'all don't speculate.
but we'll find out like obviously they gave him a unicorn skull, and that was if that is true, it's some sort of trigger for him because unicorn skulls are a huge part of his job in the town, and the librarian is there, and he recognizes her, but he doesn't really know why. There's a colonel, which,
But he keeps getting more sad.
and then
the
there's
more
a big
he
wall.
spends time with her, and the more he recognizes her, the sadder he is.
Yeah, he's like, the more I
Weird.
think about her, I'm sadder.
Yikes.
Well, she's lost her mind, and he was told that if she doesn't have a mind, she's not able to like have those kind of feelings for him. And also, like, his shadow's getting like madder and madder, and like more disappointed in him, and he knows his shadow is on borrowed time at this point. Like everything's leading up to his life changing.
How can his shadow wear boots?
You probably shouldn't think too hard about
Hey,
that
Joe's
one.
here.
Okay.
Hi, Joe.
Joe just
His-
stopped in. He's late, but hey, welcome.
It's
We're
okay.
we're getting to the meaning of life.
Adam just figured it out.
Yeah, I figured out everything. But we're getting some interesting comments. Jeff says the story is a creation of the system, I believe. Ooh. So here's an interesting like thing. It took me probably longer than it should have to understand like the world and how it works in this book, because like you've got the Calcutex, you've got the Semiotex, and you've got the Inklings, and the Semiotex. Is this like Wonka and like Slugworth? Are these like competing tech companies, or like there's some sort of
One of them is-
industrial espionage going on here, or like but the Calcutex are, I mean the Semiotex are like very ruthless about what they do. We don't actually hear if the Calcutex have like boots on the ground or like soldiers or whatever, like they go and intimidate people. It's just, it took me a while to grasp like what the makeup of this world was, and like what are the rules and how are things working.
One of them's basically the government.
Well, there's the Calcutex, which is what our main character is, and they encrypt data. Then there's the system, which is the Calcutech organization.
So Scott says the factory, which is, I guess the Semiotex work for the factory, they sell info on the black market.
Yeah.
So Calcutex exist to stop them from getting that sort of stuff by shuffling
Well,
to the point of
yeah.
unrecognizability.
And the semiotechs are part of the faction.
The factory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vicky wants to know why I'm questioning the boots and not the rest of the shadow stuff. I did question all of that. I was just in the very beginning. I've accepted it now.
Gene says, don't think too hard. Trust me, I'm not. I don't know how.
I can't help it. It's weird.
Katie says it's the second weirdest book she's ever read. Nothing will come close to the dinosaur shapeshifter romance book I read a few years ago. Can we put that in the poll?
The title and the
Yes,
author of
please.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
please
everybody's-
want to know what that is.
Everybody's asking about that title.
Well, yeah.
Add it to the thread. Add it to the thread.
But if it's weirder than this one, okay.
She didn't say it was bad. She just said it was weird.
All right. Back to you.
So, the old guy who hired our main character, he made some interesting statements about evolution and the future of humans, and I think that was really interesting. He said the world ahead of us is going to be sound free because sound is of no use to human evolution. But it's not a question of speaking or not speaking, it's just a step. I thought all of that was kind of BS.
Oh yeah, we haven't
But
talked
then-
about
Did you
the
say-
sound
But
yet.
then
Did you
the
say it was
sound,
BS?
yeah.
Yeah.
But to your point, like the sound, like that was a huge thing at the very beginning, and then like I totally forgot about it until you just mentioned.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
But the sound is a thing in the town. Remember, they keep talking about how quiet it is in the town.
But
I mean, he did say, like, even like animals and birds and water and music and all of that would just not have sound anymore. It's more than just, his research is more than just getting rid of sound, it's controlling sound. Because he mentioned at one point, like, turning up the volume and then other points turning down the volume or like silencing completely.
But this probably it's probably related in some way to like the end of the world, as they're talking about like if you don't help me, the end of the world's going to happen. I feel like it's got to have something to do with that, right? But like, but they're also talking about like if the wrong people get their hands on the sound technology, it can mean bad things. I would love to get my hands on that sound technology because we film lots of videos, and it would be awesome to be able to take
Oh
out
my
sounds of
gosh.
trains and stuff.
Yes, can we turn off all of the trains?
or people eating.
And people eating. Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure that the sound technology is going to have anything to do with the end of the world. I don't know. I don't see the connection there, but
Maybe we'll find out.
yeah, maybe. Hopefully.
But Cindy notices the quiet of the town as well.
Why did he
Yeah.
send him a unicorn skull?
What?
They sure did spend a lot of time
Why
talking
did he
about
send
the
him a
history of the unicorn
Why
skull,
did he
too.
send him a unicorn skull with the bell tongue thingies to hit it to listen to the bones? Why did he give that to
That
him?
might be a version of reading the dreams of the unicorns, and maybe he's trying to connect both sides of his consciousness that way.
to break him out of some loop or
Possibly,
something?
maybe.
Like the professor's trying to break the dude,
He's in a boot loop.
trying to
trying to
break
connect
his mental.
Tokyo dude
loop?
and town dude. Trying to connect them.
I don't like these games that
I
the
wish they had
professor's
names.
playing.
It would help, actually, with this discussion a lot.
But only with this discussion. I really don't mind that they don't have names.
Well, at least I will say this: at least he limits the amount of characters.
Yes, it's easy to follow. There
Right.
aren't like a bajillion people.
Yeah.
But to that degree, Tokyo feels very empty.
I mean, he does talk about other people being around, like when he's at the
Yes,
supermarket
but
and
it's
stuff,
like-
but I think
But
he
they're
just
outside.
doesn't
He's
Yeah.
notice
an outsider.
anybody.
Yeah.
And
Just fine.
yeah. And he doesn't interact with
Scott says he's
anybody
trying
that
to
he doesn't have
jailbreak his brain.
Yeah, I think so.
So we can install apps on it. Ha.
Another part I really enjoyed was when the granddaughter called the Tokyo dude and asked for his help on saving her grandfather, and he was like, that's not my job. You should call the cops.
He's like, I'm really tired, and this seems like a lot of work.
But I mean, it also, he's not qualified probably for it, and the cops should be called. And I love that a character in any story actually was like, you should call the cops.
He's legit had some some very human feeling reactions to these because normally your protagonist is like, yes, all of a sudden it made sense to run into that building
I'm
and
the hero.
save the person from the fire.
Yeah.
And he's very much like, I just want a beer and go to sleep. Please stop calling me. Like,
Because that was right before
Yeah.
he got roughed up. Or was that right
like even
after?
that part, he was like,
Yeah.
my door.
Well, he goes to the grocery store because she's supposed to meet him there, or the
Right.
supermarket, and
he
then comes back and gets roughed up.
But like even any tense moment, he's like, this is getting weird. I don't think I like it.
She's like, hey, I'm cold. Can I get in the covers with you? And it's like, sure.
Yeah, can we talk about some of the quirks of these characters? Like the pink girl, like is very matter of fact about sex things. Like
She was also homeschooled by her crazy grandfather,
Thank you. That's literally what I thought the whole time.
who wants her first time to be with someone over 30. I mean, he's clearly been like,
he's micromanaging. Yeah.
So that's her only companionship, and and I say this knowing I have friends who have been homeschooled, and they are the first ones to admit, like anytime there's an awkward social situation, they'll be like, ha ha, homeschooled.
and also
And so I mean, she had a unique teacher.
like the our hero guy who's very particular about like things like sandwiches and sofas and like taking taxis and stuff. Like
well, the
he's
taxi thing is a
yeah,
job
it's
thing.
like an industrial thing. I get it. But here's my favorite one, the librarian, who has a quality that I wish I had.
I
Which
was
is
so jealous when I
Being
read
able
that.
to eat as much as she wants and like not gain weight and just
Gastric dilation.
eat gastric dilation. Can we look into that? Is that a real thing?
I don't.
And can I have that? No, seriously.
The food bills.
The food bills are already high.
And
I just
being a librarian,
I just would look
could not
thin.
pay that
I mean, he's a
much.
pretty good cook, though. I mean,
Oh
that
my
dude,
gosh.
He made
Like
He made a lot of
12
food,
things.
yeah.
It was crazy.
yeah.
And she ate them all.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
She's like,
Okay, but it's also Japan where all of the portions are smaller, and he was cooking for
no, I-
himself and not for her.
Yeah, I envision this like, I mean, granted it's Japan, but you know, when you go to like a traditional Korean barbecue and they're just like bringing out all sorts of like awesome stuff, and that's what I kind of pictured with him. Like, oh well, and I'll just make this, but it like the side thing was like something I'd never heard of that sounded very exotic and delicious. But
Yeah.
Also, he brought her ice cream and it didn't melt.
It was frozen.
Yeah, but still.
They did like specifically touch on that.
That it was frozen, and that's why it wasn't melting.
But all ice cream is frozen.
Okay, but that's not the issue with the ice cream. The thing with the ice cream was the librarian was doing him a small favor, and he did this weird gift thing, which I think is also totally a cultural thing. But that struck me as really different.
That he got her ice cream?
Yeah.
She asked for it.
Well, he asked her, he's like, "You're doing me this favor. Can I get you something?" She's like, "Yes. Ice cream, please."
I'm gonna do that.
I do
next
that
time
all
somebody,
the time. I do that
To
all
a
the time.
complete stranger?
Next
If they
time I'm
offered me ice cream, yeah.
gonna do that.
He didn't
Be
offer
like, hey,
her
there's a
ice
Baskin
cream.
Robbins across the street. Get me this.
I mean,
I want to see if they do it, and then I will report back to all of the literary.
Okay, maybe it's just me
fans.
then. Maybe it's just me.
Okay, so Giggles Vids on YouTube says, being a vet assistant, she said, Giggles Vids says, being a vet assistant, the gastric dilation mentioned scared me at first. Gastric dilation volvulus, or bloat, is terrifying. Also, his cooking sounded amazing. Well, I don't want that kind of gastric dilation.
Yeah, no.
I want the
Giggle-
kind of gastric dilation that makes me able to eat and not gain weight.
Giggles
Sounds
Vids. I work with vets
magical.
too. We should talk.
What?
Yeah, his meal sounded awesome.
Vicky says favor-based exchanges are more of an Asian thing.
Vicky also said that food scene was the most unbelievable thing in the whole book.
More than the unicorn skulls.
Yeah.
Food.
I mean, he would have been lucky. The way that this character sounds, he would have been lucky to have like some Totino's pizza rolls in his
He had
freezer.
just went to the grocery store
That's true.
because he had
That's
just
true.
it filled up his
But he doesn't
refrigerator.
seem
And
like
he
a
loves
person
to
that would.
shop.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
He
He bought a car.
He
for
bought a car
shopping.
for shopping.
That was weird.
So
and random.
I think that's totally a Japanese thing too, though, because if you're shopping and you're doing all those errands at one time, it's a
gotta
lot
have a
harder to
place to
take
put
public transportation. So that I think was totally a cultural thing.
I respect that. I was like, but I don't respect his love for shopping, but I respect like the utilitarian aspect of like buying a car. Give me the thing that I can put the shopping in.
Maybe he was reading a manual and he mistook shopping cart for shopping car, and he's like, "Oh, I have to get a shopping car."
So here's something we haven't touched on yet, and Jeff brought it up. He is an alcoholic, yes or no?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There is some dependency there.
But also, what the technician said that like with his job, it's actually easier if he has a few drinks. So, could be a work thing.
I mean,
Maybe that's why he
usually if you say
survived.
that your job is easier when you're drunk,
Well, it's
then
just-
that's not good.
I mean, he's the only one that survived, so I think there's something to it.
Well, but I think partially it's a work thing because, like some of the other releases that he talks about, it's all to kind of free up his mental capacity.
Yeah.
Just like the way that he structures his work, where it's like an hour and a half on, and like some of the fiddly things he does to like retool
brain's,
his
like, broken.
brain. So I mean, but yes, probably due to that though, he is an alcoholic.
Well, and speaking about like the preparation he does before he does the shuffling, he did calisthenics, and there were some very specific things he did in order to like get in the right like frame of mind to be able to do the shuffling.
His poor brain. It's so broken.
Yeah. One of the things I thought it didn't really fit, it felt like a break from the book, was the whole history of the first recorded finding of a unicorn remains in the real world. I loved that. I loved that little break, and I loved that whole story. And it was so like choppy and weird too.
It
I-
almost felt too easy. Like when she was reading about it, I instantly felt like a distrust for the librarian. Honestly, I kept waiting for something bad to happen, thinking she was like a plant, or I don't know. Something about her made me nervous. Other than the fact that she can eat forever. I don't know. Maybe she'll come back into the story.
Now, do y'all think that that found unicorn skull is the same one that he has? Because that was something that he was wondering.
Yes.
Possibly. Lucas says yes.
Yes.
What do y'all think in the comments?
I don't think so, because it says that the one that they found had part of the horn still attached. And I feel like when it's already a skull at that point, if it had broken off to leave the depression, there would be like, it wouldn't be smooth. It wouldn't be like a perfect depression there. It would be like a hole, or it would actually be like broken or something.
Do you think the author knows that?
I would hope so. This is weird. He knows a bunch of other random weird
He
stuff.
does know a lot of random stuff. I was going to say yes, but that makes sense to me. So could go either way.
I don't know. I like the idea of thinking that there has to be more than one, that this is so much bigger.
Joe says yes.
Well, I disagree.
What's the significance if it is?
None.
Not sure that there
Convenience?
is one.
I don't know.
It says maybe.
Conveniently
Okay, yeah,
related.
Vicky says we all need to be wearing unicorn horns. Well, we will plan for that next time, Vicky.
Horn can pierce the sky.
Yeah, when we finish this book and we understand everything that's going on, we'll all come dressed like unicorns.
Yeah, once we know if they're real? No?
Oh, they're real.
Are they?
I mean, we have a skull.
Those can be fabricated. Is this all a giant ploy for the paperclip math?
What is with all the paper clips?
Right?
And he
I mean-
even like straight up asks the librarian.
Well, you can buy a lifetime supply of them, and everyone uses them to hold their papers together, according to Pink Girl. But
a librarian, actually.
oh,
On that one instance.
And then he does go buy a lifetime supply.
he did.
He does. I wonder
that-
if that's going to come
That
back
kind of
later.
puts the end to the paperclip talk for a while, though.
It did. You're right.
It's like, thank God.
But they were everywhere. They're in both worlds. Why?
Were they in both worlds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was in both worlds.
Indeed.
But I don't.
Jeff says, are the paper clips kind of like Leo's top from Inception? For those who have seen Inception, that's not Christy.
I haven't seen it.
What?
I know. I'm sorry. I
That's
haven't.
not totally
I
out
haven't
of
seen
the question.
We have it on Blu-ray
Oh,
Well, if you own it, then
We have it.
we own a lot of movies that we haven't watched, so I can't talk.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I remember we only watched it once because I felt like that was enough, but I did yell a lot at the TV at the end of the movie. It's fine.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
Joe thinks that he's fairly sure this unicorn thing is going to take a hard left and end up being related to the ice cream cone.
I mean,
Okay, I'm ready for it.
I don't feel like I'd be surprised by anything at the current state that we've left things with the book.
Yeah.
I don't feel like anything would surprise me because I don't know what's coming. I don't. So you're gonna go back to the woods? Why was there a house out there? Who lived out there? What happened? What happens to the people that go down the water hole? Like,
Tune in and then the second half of the book.
I do want to point out, Gigglevid says I need to watch Inception too, so it's not just me.
haha! Watch it, please.
Oh, Vicky says maybe the paper clips are a sign of chaos.
And then the professor is the professor of chaos because he undoodles the paper clips to clean his
So he's
fingernails, which
Professor
is
Chaos?
super gross,
That's
by the
really
way.
gross.
I've done that.
Chaos. No, that's not what those are for.
So he's Professor Chaos.
They're paper clips, not fingy clips.
Jeff Moore asks, how many have not watched Blade Runner yet?
We have not all watched Blade
We haven't
Runner yet,
either.
but we really want to. And,
We've been
and
really busy.
We've
we
been
have.
reading
It's
books,
been,
guys.
It's been crazy busy, but I think like we're still game to do.
We're gonna watch
Some
it.
sort of-
Just add it to the list.
I want to have a discussion up, and so even if that's like a still of the book, just so we can have a running commentary that's live.
You
but
can't
then
play
we're
the sound.
right. No, but then we're
Against
all
the
watching
rules.
it respectively, so we would all be like, all right, you know, exactly this time we're gonna hit start because it is. If you have Netflix right now, it is on Netflix, and the cut that we're supposed to watch, right, Scott? Scott approves.
It looks like people are still into a group watch.
Yeah, so I'm game. Like, and I think
We
I
need
don't
to
know.
schedule it.
We need to schedule it, Adam. We need to schedule it. But
Okay.
I think
It's like
that's
live tweeting, except not tweeting.
so,
So here's
Yeah.
what we'll do. We'll probably create an event and we'll say, all right, if you want to watch Blade Runner with us, this is the exact time at which you have to start the movie
yeah,
on Netflix. We'll have
have a
like a
live
countdown. We'll have a countdown that's maybe off on other people's things, and then we'll just like you hit it, and then we'll sort of live tweet it together.
yeah, perfect.
Yay!
gonna do that.
Excellent.
I can't
okay,
wait to not
so
like it.
we've got only a couple minutes left. Final thoughts as we head into the second half of the book. Go.
I feel exactly the same as I did at the beginning of this live stream. But to be fair, it's because I didn't have any strong feelings at the beginning. I am not super positive nor negative about this book. I am very intrigued and interested to see where it goes, but there's nothing that really bugs me about it. There are definitely like some weird things and some stuff I like rolled my eyes at, but there wasn't like anything for me that I loved or hated. But it's definitely weird and it's definitely interesting.
I mean, I thought this book, the halfway point that we chose, stopped at like a really exciting
good halfway
place,
point.
and I cannot wait to keep. Oh yeah, that's totally Chance. And I can't wait to keep reading and find out what happens and find out like how everything is connected, because that's awesome. I love that as a mechanism. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Lucas.
It's one of those that I want to hurry up and get it over with. I hate to be like that, but I mean, I'd say discussions help all the time. So I mean, I think it is always a good
Did
like
this help?
group therapy to just hear what other people are thinking about it.
It's fine. I didn't like last month's book.
So I do want to hurry up and finish it, but at the same time, I'm optimistic that I want it to blow my mind. Like I really want it to like get to the end and be like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. And because I really want to like it, and I want it to be something where maybe one day I'll go back and kind of read it and pick up on the subtleties. So that's kind of where I am.
Well, I'm into it. This discussion has helped me be more into it, because at first I was like, I don't know about this. But now that we've talked about it, now that I've sort of made my theories and heard other people's theories, I'm into it, and I like it. And I like that it's weird, and I like that I'm reading a weird book that I never would have read if not for this book club.
Yes,
So-
that's true.
Yeah.
Nice.
This whole thing was designed so Christy can make me read. Really, that's it.
It's working.
So it's happening. But
Lucas has read more books in the past year than he has
Probably
in like
ever.
the 10
Yeah.
years prior
That's true.
combined.
so other people are saying Vicky's with Lucas. I'm feeling like I need to get out of the way. Jeff says this is one of my favorites so far. Dan says I usually don't like Calcutech fiction, but this one works for me. Is that a genre?
Next.
Joe said, I'm wondering if the ending of this is going to be like Lost.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh, I thought that too. Like, what if we get to the end and they're just like, oh, we're all dead?
Boo! Boo!
I just spit so
Um,
much.
Michelle says, I struggled initially, but I'm tearing through it now. I'm not really emotionally invested in the characters, but I really enjoy the story. I'm excited to see what happens going forward.
Hey,
Joe
Nikki
says,
had a
how
great-
semiotech of you, Dan.
Nikki says this group has helped. I only made it to chapter 4 and now I think I can finish the rest.
Yeah.
That's great.
Peter says, this is a book that I'd never have read if not for this club, so I appreciate it.
Yay.
So yeah, we're gonna plug through. We're gonna keep going, and we're gonna finish the book. Also, this is completely unrelated.
Well, we've got a couple announcements, right?
Tom Hanks has the coronavirus.
Shut up.
What?
That's
Are you
real.
serious?
That's real.
Wait, how old is he?
He's.
And his wife.
No! I love Tom Hanks.
Well, way to bring it down.
You heard it here on Literally Wasted.
Shut up. No. That's not it.
Let's get back. Let's get back to
Okay.
Literally Wasted.
Oh no.
We do have a couple of announcements.
Yeah.
We do?
Well, first of all, the results of the poll.
Oh yeah. We did that. You did that, actually. The book that you all chose for Christy's birthday month book. So you better hope she likes it. It's The Magicians by Lev Grossman.
All right.
The official video will come out later this week, as usual. But congratulations to
Nice.
congratulations to every.
Rolling.
That's the same ringtone as me, by the way. Congratulations to everyone who voted, and to everyone who voted for a different book. That's okay. I think I might still read the Christopher Moore book because it sounded really interesting.
I want to read them all. They all
Yeah.
sound really good.
Christy's birthday month. We're reading 3 books.
No,
Just
no,
kidding,
no, no,
Just,
no.
just kidding. Just
Not a
kidding.
thing.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. What was the other announcement?
Well, you and Adam have something to talk about really quick. Weren't you going to plug something?
Oh, hey.
Got a couple plugs.
If you like watching videos on Facebook different than the one that you're watching right now, Kevin and I are, nope, his name is Adam.
My name is Adam in real life.
Oh,
So sorry.
Talia.
What Kevin and Diana have a new fun little show on It's a Southern Thing. I don't know if y'all watch the sketch videos that Adam and I do on that brand, but we have a new show, and our first episode came out today. So please go find it and watch it. And if you like it, which I hope you do, like, share it. And
It
then
was filmed
comment and be
entirely
like,
in a car.
"Ha ha." Yeah, we filmed that driving around all day long in my car. And what you don't see in the video is our friend Luke was also hiding behind my seat in the floorboard with the sound monitor. But, yeah, I felt really awful that night.
Tiny Kevin is not on this computer.
Ah,
It's a different computer.
darn it.
And we've got, so there's one plug. If you have not checked it out, Literally Wasted is now a podcast. So go find it on your favorite podcatcher, subscribe, and rate it so more people can find our wonderfully awesome book club. I'll work to get this episode up probably by the end of the week. We have another podcast through Geekword. So we
Geek
are
Fight.
we are Geekword. That is we technically have a company, but that's done. Anyway, Geek Fight podcast. Go check that out. It's me and Adam's brother Brandon, and we fight about awesome geeky things. And we've got episode 1 out. We're going to release episode 2. They're going to be kind of video game focused, but we're going to be talking about movies and cartoons and all sorts of awesome stuff.
It's going to be awesome.
It's totally awesome. And then Sunday, if you didn't catch Adventures in Reading, we introduced a new little kind of bonus content called Adventures in Reading, where we read a Choose Your Own Adventure live. And our good friend Jeff brought this to me. This was an extra. And I think, Jeff, we're just going to read this one. I'm not going to do a poll. Jeff was so kind to bring Trouble on Planet Earth. So Sunday night, I think we're going to do another Adventures in Reading. So we had a good time. We had like 25-ish people kind of come and hang out. And you guys get to help choose the path that we take for the book. So it's fun. Check it out. We'll make an event for that.
A quick reminder, if you have not gotten the book for next month, which is Magicians by Lev Grossman, you can get it at Second and Charles. Tell them you're in our book club and you'll get it for 20% off. Remember to tell all your, oh my gosh, words are so hard. Remember to tell all of your friends to join our book club. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and our Facebook group, The Literally Wasted Lounge. And look at our other page, Geek Word, where we're putting a bunch of our nerdy podcasts. We're everywhere.
We'll share
everywhere.
the page in the Facebook group so y'all can follow it.
But like we're everywhere. Just look for us. Find us.
Bye. Good night.
Goodbye. Okay. Christy says goodbye. Good night. We're gonna
Good night,
finish
everybody.
eating cake now. We love you. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Bye.